Hey, this is John for JMC Garage in the JMC Garage, and this week we are actually redoing this utility trailer. Now, for a little backstory on this utility trailer. So, a couple weeks back, I was able to grab my dad's 2012 Ford Escape, and in the process of doing that, I was taking, not only does the Ford Escape have a trailer hitch on it, but I was able to take his old utility trailer, which housed a wheeling machine, and I drove that 2,600 miles from Delaware all the way to North Idaho. So in the process of driving from Delaware all the way to North Idaho, there's a couple things that need to be addressed now that I'm back here in North Idaho. So I made it back, but it's time to do some work on the trailer. Now, this trailer is kind of a homemade utility trailer. You have a regular base, kind of a frame on it that goes all the way back. You have, instead of wood at the bottom, you have metal grates, which are welded to these crossbars, which is great. Of course, you have the same metal grate for the ramp. My dad originally purchased this trailer to haul motorcycles in. Since he was an avid biker, he would haul motorcycles on this trailer. So we made this contraption to where when you load your front wheel, your motorcycle inside, this will kind of latch and lock it into place. Pretty nifty design. I did have a spare tire on it. That spare tire is gone. It didn't hold air. We're going to be using one of the trailer tires since I have two new tires, courtesy of Amazon. We're going to stick these on the trailer. So we got two brand new tires. These tires, they also come with a 2-year roadside service warranty, and they also have the rate up to 80 miles an hour. Not that you want to go 80 miles an hour with something this small, but they are rated for that quick. So anyway, we're going to be installing these two tires, and one of the things that happened on the way back home is I lost one of my trailer lights. Now, I've already prepared and taken care of the trailer lights here. One of the trailer lights, so these trailer lights were actually attached on the side here. So you had one on one side, and then you had this one on the other side. Now, what this was right here housed a magnet. This magnet would go right there. That's what this light was. On the course of going through some of the rough West Virginia roads on the interstate, that light actually broke free from its mount and was just flopping around by the wires, and eventually lost this light and everything else with it. So the whole ride home, I was down to one trailer light that was only working, and this one kind of fell off. So, not fell off, but literally the light broke off. So now we're going to be installing new trailer lights, all new wiring, getting rid of this old wiring. Now, these lights are not actually for trailers. I guess they could be used for trailers. They have a big magnet on them, but these are actually emergency lights. So if you're actually towing a vehicle, or if you need emergency lights on your vehicle, these are meant to get magnetized on your vehicle and act as emergency brake, running, and turn signal lights. So that's what originally my dad used these for. These lights are junk, and we're going to be installing these lights here from Omnico. Check it out. We have the license plate holder, the manual, some goodie bag, and then this is the main wiring harness that we're going to be installing on the trailer. And then also we have two new tail lights, one for the left side and the other, which will have the license plate, on the right side. So there you go. And then it also comes with its own warranty card that says thanks for your purchase. If you have any questions, you can reach out to them. Awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break real quick. I'm going to go get this set up. We're going to put the new tires on first. We're going to jack up the trailer, and then we're going to get busy installing to the lights. So stick back with me. We're going to jack this trailer up and get these tires off. Time for the first tire install. Got my handy Craftsman. It's not sponsored by Craftsman, by the way, but I got my handy Craftsman half-inch impact. This thing has been great. We're going to use 13/16. Get down to the ground here. one tire is now officially off. As you can see, this inside tread really started to go bad. The rest of the tread is actually not too bad, but this started to wear pretty good. This is actually not too bad. I can see a little bit of the tread left. I may use this as a spare, so we're going to put this aside and we're going to grab the new tire. Oh, this is part of the old light assembly that I had to actually saw off in order to get it off. We'll put that aside there. Now, as you can tell, this spins pretty good and there's no noise. Whatever you want to do when you're checking your trailer is you want to make sure, if you're especially going on a long haul, that this cap comes out. You don't necessarily have to take the bearings out, but what you want to do is grab out any old grease that you take out the cap, wipe out any old grease, tighten the bearings as they should be, and then pack it full of new grease, and then put the cap back on and you're good to go. Before I left Delaware, I had somebody check this out. He tightened the bearings for me, he packed it full of grease, and we were good to go. So, I'm going to go ahead and grab a new tire. And we're going to stick this guy on. Okay. Line up the bolt holes there. Now you always want to start these hand tight, almost like a lug nut. You want to make sure when you're putting these new tires or new rims on is that you want to make sure the valve stem is sticking out. You never want to have the valve stem sticking inward. Now these tires are rated up to 90 psi max, and right now we got about 70 in them is what they were shipped with, and that's what we're going to stay with. So all right, you want to go around and there we go. That sucker's on there.
It's smoking as well.
Where?
Here. And I think a little bit from there, from rubbing it against the...
Be alright. Alright, I'm going to go do the other side. I'll be right back with you guys, and then we're going to work on the trailer wiring. Alright, we're back. We got the brand new rims on and tires. I'm going to be mounting that for an actual spare, which is one of the old ones. These ones are off of Amazon, about 75 bucks for a pair, so pretty good deal. Now we're going to do the trailer lights. So what we're going to do first is we're going to mount the one side first before we get to the other side, and before we get to wiring. Okay. So comes with these mounting here, studs and nuts. Now with these trailer lights, it's pretty self-explanatory. You always want to be having the reflector facing out, just like that. And again, this side's pretty easy. That's how he's mounted, just like that. Now, time for the other side. The other side's a little bit more tricky. Not too bad. What we have here is we got the license plate we're going to be mounting bracket onto this side here. So, again, follow the same procedure. And then we're going to tackle wiring. There we go. Now, before we stick this on, make sure we mount the license plate holder on first. Actually, I am doing this totally backwards. That is the way it needs to be. So this way, when your license plate is mounted, the light can shine right on it. No, I think we mounted it this way. Yeah, we want to mount it this way. I was right the first time. I thought I was this way. Okay. I'm going to mount it this way. Yeah. All right. And that guy is mounted on there. Now, as you can see, it's dipping down just a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this bracket real quick. So I'm going to take my 7/16. In fact, I think I'm going to use my wrench. Yes. See, look at that. Now, I'm going to adjust it just like that. Get the old tight down. Okay, there we go. Now it's adjusted, looks great. Make sure it matches with the other side. The other side could actually be mounted a little bit differently as well. And that one's a little bit tighter. And different size, actually. Super. Probably half inch. Yes. Ooh, that one's super tight on there. That's better. All right, now they're both just about even.
Nice.
And all this needs is a license plate. Now you may notice it's a little bit low to the ground. I understand that. As long as you don't tip the trailer up too high, it shouldn't be an issue with as far as how low it is. What could be done, I'm not going to do it now, what could be done is I could actually reverse this side, go over here, and this side come over here. I'm not going to do that right now. But anyway, that could be done as well. So, let's go ahead and make sure we're going to wire this correctly. Handy dandy instructions. Now, what they say is the green and brown is going to go on this side, and the yellow and brown is on this side. So you may be like, well, what's the difference between the two colors? Well, white is always a ground. In fact, forgot to do something with the white, which we're going to do. But white is always ground, so the brown is always going to be the running light. Doesn't matter which side, you're always going to have a running light. And then the green is going to be the left-hand side turn signal and brake, and the yellow is the right-hand side turn signal and brake, and it'll correspond wiring that way. One of the things I didn't do, and I know I should have, but I didn't do, is I didn't connect my grounds. Now, the way they want you to work the ground on this particular trailer is the ground would be through the trailer itself. So in order for that to happen, and what I should have done, but I didn't do, so I'm going to bust out my handy tool again. I believe that was a 10 millimeter. Yes, 10 millimeter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose I believe this guy right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure this will work. Number one, it will. And what's going to happen is I'm going to connect my ground to the back side of one of these bolts. And when we do that, we're going to crimp it down onto the wire. It's on there. So now I can take one of these out here. And now I can connect my ground right to the trailer. Check that out. There we go. Okay, that's how it's connected. Let's do the other side. I don't think I have the right size here. Let's find out. Oh, that's the right size. Never mind. Okay. I don't want to do that one. I want to do the inside one. Now you always want to make sure you have a good ground. On this side here, there's a little bit of paint on the light bracket, so we want to sand that off. I'm going to go ahead and do that, take a short break, and then we'll be right back where we're going to do the rest of the wiring. All right, John, and we got the wiring finished. So let me show you what we did. I hadn't really tucked anything up yet or really secured anything, but what I wanted to do, and one of the things I wanted to point out, if you're doing your own trailer wiring, kind of mock it up to see how you like it before you tuck everything in and zip tie everything or whatever you want to do, because it's a little bit harder to try and do it when it's, you know, when it's all finished up, and then you got to find out if you had made a mistake somewhere. So what we did was I butt connected, and I will come back later on and go ahead and wire tie or wire as far as tape these wires together so they're out of the way and out of the weather. But as you can see, we have working journal lights. I hooked it up to the Explorer. As you can see, we have hazards working. We're going to check the brake lights. We're going to check left and right turn signals, and the running lights work. That all works. So anyway, got it connected to the Explorer here. I will be tucking up all these wires, but you got to make sure it works before you do. And then the ground wire I connected right here. So that ground wire is connected right there, not going anywhere, and I'll make sure everything's all good to go before I really put this up. So let's go ahead and make sure those brake lights work. Brake. actually going through diagnostics in the Explorer to the wiring and everything else, and it's working out pretty well. One of the things I had to work on is rewiring on the Escape, because that turn signal wasn't going too well when I had it hooked up to the Escape. That's why I wanted to bring the big guns. Awesome. All right, well, you guys be blessed. Have a wonderful day. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you like some of these tutorial how-to videos. I hope you guys gained something out of this, and look forward to the next one. Stay tuned for more videos that are to come. This is John for jmcGarage.